I, like other people, other interesting people, scholars and visionaries, got enlightened in the latter part of the 80s and the early part of the 90s. This is a resurgence of consciousness that hit the planet. In this particular case, we was talking about with black people. What had happened was every so many years, every 20 years, every 20, 30 years, we have this resurgence of consciousness. We had it in the late 60s. We've had some in the 20s and the 30s. You know, it's always up and down. We would have this resurgence of some type of awareness. What made this one the creme de la creme, the ultimate resurgence of knowledge compared to the ones before? The ones that we had the resurgence of knowledge in the 1960s, late 60s and early 70s, was we was getting to know our identity. What made this one a little bit different in the late 80s and the 90s was we reached all the way back into our ancient history, and that was different. So we're no longer a product of African American history, which starts with slavery, but we reached back into our classical history, which not only dealt with West Africa, but we reclaimed East Africa and Egypt itself, the pearl of knowledge on the global planet. And as a result, the floodgates was open. Where I came in is the first wave started with historians, Dr. Ben, John Henry Clark, Asa Hilliard, Dr. Charles Finch, and a whole host of people, historians. Where I came in, they always talked about the mysteries, the Egyptian mysteries. But no one really could explain what the mysteries was. My claim to fame was actually breaking the link. And what had happened was the European community had preserved a lot of the ancient knowledge that came to them by the Moors, who were direct priests that came out of the Egyptian mystery system after the Arabs invaded Egypt, the last invasion of Egypt. So they carted this knowledge into Europe, stayed there for 700 years, taught them, and then the Europeans preserved it. But what they did do is, after preserving it, they made it their own in a particular aspect. These advanced sciences, these mysteries became the New Age movement, the metaphysical movement. You see, so and so, and as a result, by researching and going into these particular stores and these particular areas, I realized that this was the lost, missing pieces of the mystery system, just renamed. And as a result, so when I started lecturing in 1992, it snowballed and all, you know, and so that was my claim to fame also. But around that same time, we had other scholars that had done stuff like started researching the mysteries of melanin, and one of the chief scholars is one by the name of Richard King, who wrote the book African Origins of Biological Psychiatry. He also wrote a book called African Melanin, the Key to Black Greatness. He also and then he wrote a recent book called Why Darkness Matters with him, Dr. Richard King, T. Owens Moore, and Sister Ann Brown, PhD Ann Brown. So this research permeated throughout the whole. Not only did we have these mysteries, but melanin was always a key component and central to all metaphysical studies when we studied it from the black perspective. You see what I'm saying? From the black perspective. And so as a result, we find out that this melanin is at the key to all things central to meditation, all things central to esoteric knowledge of the inner workings of the body, the mind, and the soul.
Okay.
And so, yes, so,
Okay.
so I've been, I never stopped going, never stopped running after, entering into the lecture and the research field, and have been basically doing this thing for 16 years.
That is beautiful to hear.
Yes.
That is definitely beautiful to hear. I'm so happy to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. We have a lot of users in the chat room here. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, great. Recently went over to the UK, London, and even uncovered some mysteries there in the British Museum.
Okay.
So if you, we have those particular DVDs are now hitting the different areas or different places where people get the DVDs from.
Oh, okay.
And
good.
so we still uncovering mysteries and stuff. So it's a great day for knowledge. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's right. Okay, well today is definitely the day, so we can go on and get into the show now. So I'm so thankful that you actually shared the, a lot of the, the history of how this all got started.
Yes.
I didn't even know that. So, but I'm just a youngin' too. So, I definitely look forward to learning more. So the first thing that I know, my first question for you, Bobby, is that there's a lot of people out here who don't even know that. I mean, believe it or not, there are people who ain't never even heard the word melanin.
Yes.
And then there's some people who've heard the word melanin, but they don't even really know what it is. So can you, just kind of take a moment and elaborate on that?
Well, let me give you two versions of melanin.
Okay.
We'll start with the cosmic aspect of melanin, which is known as dark matter. And they've been researching this stuff for the last umpteen years. Dark matter, there's a book called Through a Universe Darkly. All you need to know is the name of the person. And so that is this cosmic substance. This cosmic substance. And it's more than just a substance. It's everything from the essence of an intelligence, the fabric of space itself. It is known in the Bible when they say in the beginning there was darkness. But there's thousands of references to this darkness in Egypt. In Hemmitt studies, even the god Osiris is called Lord of the Perfect Black. It's also called Techim, heavy star material. So it's multiple names. I did about 10, 15 years ago, or about 14 years ago, tried to jot down just about how many things could be named melanin, and I was up to almost 300 different things, because if we're talking about something that is the basis, it's actually one of the bases you hear all the time, carbon. We are carbon-based beings. Well, that's what melanin is, carbon. Forms of earth melanin is oil, crude oil. You see what I'm saying? It is the same thing that you hear of in the Bible of the anointed one. Well, what it means, the anointed one, it means anointed by olive oil, but olives are both black and green.
That's right.
Well, Osiris is known as God of the perfect black, but he's also known as the green god. You see what I'm saying? Among Pan and other different, El Kedah is the green one in Islam. But they always talk about the green and the black. So these are ancient mythological mysteries, just alluding to this mysterious substance that is not only permeates everything, but it will be the outcome of everything also, including when we go into the earth mysteries of global warming and all of that type of stuff. So there's a connection. There's a connection with that. But what it basically is, so that's the cosmic aspect of this mysterious substance. In the inner aspect, as far as the biological aspect, which is inside of our bodies, it is a substance that is secreted by the pineal gland. Osiris is called a corn deity. The pineal gland is in the central part of the brain, in the middle of the brain, and it is big as a grain of corn. Is as big as a grain of corn. But melanin is also permeates throughout our central nervous system. Melanin is not only within our central nervous system. Melanin is also called junk DNA. So you have DNA, which is the two double helix strands that you see. Then there's the DNA that science either can't understand or don't want the public to understand, and they call that junk DNA. Junk DNA is nothing but melanin. You see what I'm saying? Nothing but melanin.
Okay.
You see?
Okay.
And so this particular, and now the thing about it here is another reason probably why is because we have, as black people, have a greater output of the melanin, but nevertheless, everything down here has to have melanin to even survive, including white folks. You see what I'm saying?
Everybody needs to survive. Okay.
Right. So you can't go by, and one thing about the melanin, the one that's the most important is the one that is in the central nervous system. This cosmic black substance, sand-like substance, is in the central nervous system. And in that particular case, you can't just measure it based on skin color, based on the melanocytes. The melanin that's in the skin is just basically the melanin that protects black people from the sun that lives on the equator or equatorial Africa or on the continent of Africa and other hot climates. That's the melanocytes, and that is the skin aspect. What we're talking about here is one that is the one that's in the central nervous system, which is our essence, which means you can have a great deal of melanin and be very light-skinned. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
You see?
Okay,
So
wait a minute. Can I just...
Yes.
I just have a quick question on what you're saying there, because I want to make sure I understand what you're saying, because you're saying, okay, we had the melanin in the skin, and then we had the melanin that's in the central nervous system, so it sounds like there are different kinds of melanin. Or
yes. Well, the first indication of melanin comes from the first humans. So obviously these first humans being in tropical climates would have a darker pigment. And as a result, that melanin aligns the melanocytes, what they call melanocytes, which makes the skin black to protect it from the sun.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? And the hair also black. You see. Now, but nevertheless, we still have, even if we just talk about the African family, we still have different hues of Africans. But even if we talk about people from around the world, and even if we talk about black people in our newer form, where we have different hues ranging from dark skin all the way to light skin. That melanin, there's another melanin, which is the inner melanin, which permeates the central nervous system. I have names for it. Richard King and Dr. Carol Barnes and them talk about a certain melanin. But anyway, you can be heavily melanated and light skinned. You see what I'm saying? On that particular aspect, because we're talking about now, here we're talking about a form of DNA, the inner stuff. You see, especially when they talk about junk DNA, the melanin that can't be understood, or they don't want to understand it, or they don't want science to understand it. You see what I'm saying? Or the scientific community, which is a really tragic community, is the scientific community, because the scientific community is always a community that is a byproduct of something that is secret, that the global elite will go in their lodges, in their secret societies, and learn the greater part of that. The tragic part is when it gets to the scientific community, they're always limited to the physiological aspect of things.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And as a result, that's tragic, because there's greater levels of this that we don't never learn, because the simple fact here, there's a consensus and a conspiracy, yes, to hide the greater knowledge from the people.
Greater knowledge. And obviously this is something that people need to understand, so this is very
right.
important.
Right.
So the next question is going to be this, and I know you kind of touched on that within the answer of what it is. You say you got regular everyday people that's listening. So let's just say, okay, now we know it does this or it does that. Why does it matter? What does it do? What's the significance?
Melanin is everything from a cosmic computer. It is spirit itself. It is what makes us dance, what makes us laugh, even what makes us love. Because even love has something to do with the chakra system, the heart chakra. Right. And the chakra system lines up the spinal system. So you have although you have a spinal cord, you have a ethereal body, which is this invisible body that has these different wheels of light that lines up the body up into the pineal gland, which is one of the wheels of light, which is the one that secretes the melanin. You see. So in so many words, if you have a heart chakra, which is one that's based on love, feeling, and different things, then there is some form of melanin, you see, that even permeates love. We can even say this dopamine that they talk about now, that people who, they say, fall in love, this dopamine comes, and it's supposed to last for about 2 good years. And that's when you're really under the drug. You know, that's when you just, nothing the person that you're in love with can do anything wrong, and even if they do anything wrong, you don't care, because you know. So, but even all of that stuff has something to do with the connection of melanin, or what they call the endocrine system. And the endocrine system are these particular multiple glands in the head. So you got your pineal gland, pituitary gland, hypothalamus gland, and these particular ones. And those glands are known as the pearly gates, or the gates of Zion. So even the ancient material talks about those particular things, or those particular glands.
Oh, you're moving on to my next question.
Yeah. So what this melanin is also a cosmic computer. Let's say, it's amazing how children can learn every song on the radio. You see what I'm saying? And how you're able to store stuff that normally you wouldn't think that you could store or recollect certain things. That is because of the melanin. You see, it's very connected with rhythm. You see what I'm saying? Whereas you can. I used to be a dancer in high school, and people used to go. But this wasn't no choreographed dancing. No, this was straight up going to the dance floor and beating somebody behind. And they used to go, well, how do you do it? Did you practice? I said, I never practiced a day. I never had anybody teach me. I said, when the music cut on, I just can do it.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So that's melanin. You see, but we also talk about stuff in its right level. It can heal all disease. Now it's interesting because most black people got all type of disease and all types of ailments, from high blood pressure to strokes and heart attacks and all this type of stuff. But there's something that's retarding the melanin to go to that particular level. And one thing we do know is the lack of water and the lack of sleep. Yeah. Which is the basic number one killers in America is sleep deprivation and dehydration.
And dehydration.
You see what I'm saying? And melanin goes to water, you see, like white on the White House. You know, I could say like stink on shit, but anyway. But anyway, I'm trying to be humane here today. But anyway, if people got my tapes, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, but there's certain things, and also being in a society that's not your original environment has a lot also to do with certain things being retarded. When we say retarded, we're not talking about mental retardation. We're talking about retard, which means something that goes at a slower pace. It you see, makes something dormant or makes something, you see what I'm saying, retreat almost. So so just about everything that you can name has something to do with melanin. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Just about everything in the medical profession they're finding out now has something to do with melanin. As a matter of fact, they have something like 20-something articles on the internet on melanin every year. Now check this out. In every single year they will have another 20-something articles, and they all have changed from the articles from the previous year. Wow. That's how much research was going on melanin. It is the number one research on the planet. Wow. You see what I'm saying? As the number one research on the planet. As a matter of fact, we can go even further. You had your Human Genome Project. And people need to ask this question. You had your Human Genome Project that started in the 1990s, and that's all you heard. We're mapping the DNA code. Human genome, human genome, human genome. And then in the 2000s, you didn't hear much about the Human Genome Project anymore.
Mm.
And all the research that was in the Human Genome Project started going into the research at major universities and even black universities where they're studying 15,000 black people's DNA in the United States. And then all of a sudden, these programs come up on how you need to trace your DNA back to Africa or where have you. Even in the UK, they got a whole, program where they're tracing their DNA back. They do it from the UK so they can get all, because most of the islands are in London.
So they're doing it in the UK too.
So they're doing it in the UK. That means they can get most of the islands, other than going to all these different islands. So UK would be the central place, just like America would be the central place for blacks in the diaspora. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So they gave you a TV show called African American Lives with Bill Gates. What's his name? Not Bill Gates.
No, not Bill Gates.
Henry Louis Gates.
Oh,
they gave us a TV show, African American Lives, trying to get this thing to people to trace their DNA, and they gave a whole motion picture to the black people in London. You see what I'm saying? Trying to place this DNA. So why is it all of a sudden the human genome became more interested in the 2000s of tracing the DNA? Because they also know that everything is locked up in, if you're talking about we're the oldest people on the planet and most indigenous people, then it would be, if you're going to talk about, study anything from its arcane perspective or its holistic perspective, you need to get the original blueprint. That just makes sense. You see what I'm saying? And if you want to understand how you can have an original archetype of a person, or original entity, and later on have a later entity, you need to find out the variations on what makes us who we are. Because it's interesting here, because they're astounded to say that, well, you know, if you were originally African or originally any type of indigenous person, because we got different black people from around the earth other than just the African. When you see those Olmec heads, that tells you that we were more than just a continental people. But
that's right.
Why is it that some of the most talented, the most genius of us is the people that's the offspring from the African?
Hello.
Which is, you see what I'm saying? So obviously there's something in the evolution of our coming into Africa and our plight. You see what I'm saying? That made the melanin into something new. You see?
Gotcha.
See, you see what I'm saying?
That's right.
And something extraordinary. So this stuff is, like I said, it can take weeks to just go into this melanin thing because there's so much. But you know, so much. And so you have melatonin that secretes at night.
Okay.
You got serotonin that secretes in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Either way, so you got melatonin and serotonin comprised together, you get melanin. That's one of the great mysteries. There's great mysteries and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, even to the menstrual cycle. Now, the menstrual cycle here is one of the great ones that was broken. It's in a book called Dragon Time. I don't know the name of the author, but it was called Dragon Time. And in there it talks about how when women have these mood swings based on their menstrual cycle, that what has happened when the menstrual cycle came on, certain hormones are secreted that normally will be regulated when the cycle is not on. They're just these hormones are just secreting everywhere. So in 1 minute, melanin being a nighttime hormone, you might be walking around 12 o'clock at day, and this thing secretes as a nighttime hormone, which suggests sleep. And then all of a sudden, you can understand when your mood will change and you don't want to be bothered.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's different things that's going on. As a matter of fact, sleep itself is a form of melanin. Why we know that? Because why is it when Europeans need to sleep, they take melatonin pills?
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So sleep itself is a form of melanin. You see what I'm saying? You got the god Shiva. The god Shiva is also called the Lord of Sleep.
Right.
You see?
That's right.
And so,
that's right.
Right. So all of this stuff comes down to, it's everything. And there's so many things you can link it. We can even link this to the planet. You see what I'm saying?
This is no small matter. I mean, even just trying to answer the question, what does it do? It's like everything.
Everything.
And it may seem broad, but it's the truth.
Melanin is what we used to use to control the weather with our mind. Now, this is a science that anybody can do now because I do it all the time. And I've been doing it since 1998. When I roll into a city that I have to lecture in, if it starts raining, and most of my audience is black, and I know them, if it rains, they ain't coming out. So basically, I use my own inner visions to stop the rain, and I have been 100% successful since 1998 when I started doing it. As a matter of fact, when we went to London, we control the weather, and it rains over there all the time. And we control the weather, and we stayed a week, and it was sunshine every day. So we used to control the weather based on that. So when you see the whole Indian rain dance and all this type of stuff here, that's nothing scientific. There's nothing. We used to do that. If we're connected to the earth and connected to the atmosphere, then why is it that we can't control it? Don't tell me that you can say a sign, zodiac sign, can affect the way a person is, and that person don't also have the same type of connection to the moon and the stars. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, yes, everybody does. You see what I'm saying? I take, for instance, so melanin is also connected to the global warming. This is the stuff that they don't want you to know.
That's right. Now we're about to really get into it because you didn't really open it up by.
Somebody
just posted a question in the chat room. They said, "So wait a minute, are you saying that we can control the weather?"
You can control the weather, and it is because of you that the global warming is going on.
All right.
That's a whole other thing that's going on.
And this is the other reason why I want to bring it up, because there's a lot of our folks, especially right here in America, a lot of our black people, they off into other things. And they're not thinking, I know that I've talked to certain people, they'll think that everything that's happening with global warming and so forth is just a myth and just a way to scare everybody.
Oh, no.
The
earth is heating up. Not only is the earth heating up, there's all kind of ancient texts that talked about the earth will be heating up. Even the little old man Elijah Muhammad in his book, Fall of America, said that in the latter days, the earth going to heat up and get extremely hot. You see what I'm saying? So, there is all kind of text and stuff like that. But let me give you an example before we even get into that on how this thing is done.
Okay.
In 2000, they deregulated the gas here in Atlanta and mostly up the East Coast.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas you have a regular gas and a regular set fee. When they deregulated and gave it to these different companies, they started charging enormous fees. Then you had black people that had their gas cut on for 60 years. People in their 80s and stuff like that getting their gas cut off. So what had happened was going towards that. So what it was, they deregulated and they cut all the black people's gas off somewhere in the summer of 2000 on into the fall. So what had happened was on the East Coast, there was concern that the Christmas buying or the Christmas aspect or the Christmas buying season, shopping season was going to be affected because it was unusually warm. This is actually the by this time this is the fall of 2001 because they deregulated in 2000 and in the fall of 2001 when they started cutting off people's gas in the spring of the year. So going near Christmas and going near November, it was unusually warm. So someone called some people in the government and say, "Hey, look, you need to do something." And what had happened was this: the black people up the East Coast who couldn't afford gas, because obviously it wasn't a lot of white folks. Those black folks who couldn't afford gas collectively prayed, not necessarily prayed. In their mind, they said, "Oh, Lord, I hope it don't get cold because my gas is off." And as a result, because they collectively did this, they say if you get several hundred people meditating on the same thing, it can materialize and it can happen. So by them worrying that their gas was going to get cut up, that it was going to get cold, and they just wished it away, it didn't get cold. The government came in and said, hey, look, you better get some low-income providers or something and get these people's gas back on, or we might not have Christmas.
Oh, boy.
You see what I'm saying? So that happened in the central United States in fall of 2001. They know it. They know it. Your whole lottery system, because melanin also has to do with a numerical breakdown of numbers. Your whole lottery system is based on black people. Because the original lottery system, the one that when it got its before Dutch Schultz took it over, it got its start in Harlem, and with the black communities because we could dream numbers. You see what I'm saying? So so what happened was, even to this day, what they will do with the lottery system is it's based off of what numbers black people pick. And then, as you notice, when and we raise the money up to the millions, and then everybody but us wins.
I was just going to say, so it sounds like just, I hate to say it, but it sounds like melanin has become a commodity, so to say.
It's everything, yes.
Yeah,
it is, because it's also connected to dreams. You see, and so it is. Now, how this affects global warming and the planet is simple. Now, there's one other part of melanin that I didn't explain. Melanin, the movement of melanin and the regulation of melanin is regulated by these glands that's in your body. The pituitary gland regulates the melanin, and the pineal gland secretes the melanin. And they got all these endorphins that do certain things, but it's all regulated, and it is all stemmed from a cosmic fire that's at the base of the root chakra, or the base of your spine, near the anus. And it's a cosmic fire, and that fire, they say it's 10 times hotter than regular fire, but it is inside of our body, but it's the ethereal fire. And that particular fire shoots up the spine, and that's called the Kundalini energy. And it permeates the chakras and goes into the pineal gland, and that's where you get the serpentine fire, or the cosmic fire. Our God is an all-consuming fire.
That's right.
You see.
That's right.
So that's called the Kundalini of the serpent fire. So they say, Moses, you shall pick up serpents in the wilderness as a testimony to your faith.
You done touched on another question.
Well, the serpents that Moses was supposed to pick up is talking about the Kundalini energy. And you got these dumb rednecks is out there actually literally picking up snakes and getting bit and dying because they don't understand the prophecy was not talking about a literal serpent. It's talking about the serpentine fire, the Kundalini fire that raises you to a higher evolution or a higher elevation of spirituality. Well, just as we have a Kundalini fire in us, the earth has its own Kundalini fire.
That's right.
It has the same exact Kundalini fire and a serpentine energy. As a matter of fact, there's a book called The Mysteries of the Mexican Pyramids by Peter Tompkins. And in that book it talks about, in that book, The Mysteries of the Mexican Pyramids, it talks about how several Mesoamericans, or several Americans in South America and Mexico, several Mexicans in South America and Mexico, they go in and they do ceremonies to raise the earth's Kundalini. There's a new book that just came out the first of the year by Drumbalo Melchizedek. I don't know the name of the actual book, but I know part of the writing on the book, or the subtitle of the book, is talking about igniting or raising the earth's Kundalini by Drumbalo Melchizedek. So my point here is, if there's an evolution and we are connected to it, then that means the earth is connected to it, and it is also heating up based on that. Okay. You see what I'm saying? So the last part is this: we are evolving as a species, and the Kundalini energy is part of that evolution, and the melanin and the DNA, especially black DNA, has been changing rapidly since the 1990s, and we are evolving. So if this stuff is evolving in us, that means the earth is also evolving. So I'm like George Carlin say, you got to have a hell of an ego to think that in actuality you are harming the planet. What ego you think? You think the earth, they laugh at the earth laughs at that, saying, when I'm ready to throw you off, I can flick you off like a flea. Don't think that this is a cosmic planet and a cosmic universe, and you think that you have the audacity to think that you actually are harming the planet. That's a joke to the earth and to the spirit realm, which means that. But what we're actually seeing here is this: the people who study the ancient mysteries know that the earth is heating up, and they know that certain things is happening, and we are evolving as a species. So what they do here is they put on the scare tactics. You see what I'm saying? The scare tactics. So yeah, that is global warming, but I'll let you in on another little secret. Okay. If you take every single thing that the scientists and everybody's saying that you can do to change global warming, well, guess what? If you did everything in order, and if you got the earth and its whole population total to follow the instructions by the T to change the earth and to save the earth, guess what happened? Them ice glaciers will still melt on time, because this has nothing to do.
It's still going to melt.
It's going to melt anyway. You want to know why? Because it has nothing to do with man's behavior. It has something to do with man's biology. As we evolve, the earth evolves.
You see what I'm saying? Just one more time, you said it has to.
As we evolve, the earth evolves. It's just that what it is the reason why it's coming so rapid now. Because you can go to, if you see those footage of those ice glaciers, they are breaking off, miles, daily. You see what I'm saying? So now, but you thinking, well, wow, you think we got why is this happening now? Because the thing about it is we have been evolving for the last 25 years, and ain't nobody told you about it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Nobody told you about it. You see what I'm saying? So what it is because you don't have the knowledge of our evolution, especially black people, because we're the original people. So we are the ones, and it made all these movies, the X-Men and all these different movies of us mutating, but it's called transmutation into something else. And we're the original people. That means we was on the planet long enough for something to actually happen with our DNA.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? And don't think that the planet, the trees and everything else is not the same species. It's all one.
That's right.
When you go out in space, you don't see human beings walking around. You see the earth. You see what I'm saying? But you can look at the earth and say, that's mankind. You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
Or womankind, the lack of a better word. You see what I'm saying? The point I'm trying to make here is it's all coming, but the thing about it here, if you got a group of people that separate science from spirituality, you see what I'm saying? Then you got to, so see, the argument here is this. The argument here is not the separation of, it's not important to separate science from religion, because religion is political. You learn very little about spirituality from religion. It's a guessing game. Everything is broken down into parables or what have you, and it needs to be interpreted by people that's been long dead, but not no preacher.
That's right.
Or not some of these priests. They ancient science or stuff, but spirituality is more important. When you separate the earth and don't teach people spirituality, then the people will only have to rely on the scientific evidence, and that is always a botched job. There's 100 different sequences and variables that you got to get to the way of the science, but the spirit is the cohesiveness. You can find out what you need to do immediately in the spirit realm, but not religious realm. Most people are religious, and religion, what true religion is, what true spirituality is, religion frowns upon.
Wow.
You see.
Can you hold that thought for 1 second?
Yes.
I want to go ahead and open up the phone lines now. I want to thank everybody for being so patient. We have definitely gone past 30 minutes, but I know y'all certainly don't mind. If y'all want to call in and y'all have any questions, the guest call-in number is 347-945-7187. Just so you all know, when you call in, please try to keep your questions short and your comments short. Please don't try to talk for 5 minutes, y'all. We just got too many people that's listening to this show right now. We can't give y'all 5 or 10 minutes apiece. It's just not going to happen. And I don't want to have to hang up on none of y'all. So please, keep questions and comments short. Again, if you want to call in, you have any questions that you want to ask Bobby, the number is 347-945-7187. I know a lot of people have told me that they're shy. So if you have any questions that you don't want to call in and ask, then post them here in the chat room. And make sure you put, Lady Phoenix, please ask Bobby this question. Okay, so I just want to let y'all know the phone lines are now open. Okay, Bobby, let's continue with what we was talking about here. So you were saying, with the religion and wait a minute, we got a caller already. And let me grab this caller here. Caller from area code 803. You're on the line with the Goddess Roundtable. What's your question this evening?
Peace. How you doing? Hotep to everybody in the room. My question is real quick. I wanted to ask Brother Bobby how the melanin relates to the Aboriginal people of Australia, who are said to have more chromosomes in their being than other people, and how that relates to their expansion and the way that they use the electromagnetic grid.
Well, it relates to them most definitely because they are an indigenous people.
Okay.
But one thing about the melanin, what's most important now, is not how indigenous you are, but how transmuted you are. So let's put it this way. So the reason why we are having this conversation right now and not in other indigenous people around the world is because we went through a milling process of the Middle Passage, slavery. You see, which if you take a rock and so much pressure is put upon it, it can become a diamond. You see what I'm saying? Well, that's what this is. We are diamond people now, the ones who have gone through a milling process of utter hell. So a lot of times, if you notice, most indigenous people around the world are very docile. You see what I'm saying? As far as, are very docile. That is because they say, out of Egypt I will call my son. So what that is because the earth, indigenous people had to go through a transformation, alchemical transformation pattern. And so therefore, this is the reason why we're talking tonight compared to other indigenous people around the world. You see what I'm saying? Is because, now don't get me wrong, this is for the whole earth. It's for the entire earth to evolve. But there has to be a head of a snake, a collective higher council. And this is why we are at the collective higher council discussing this. Right now what we are discussing is a part of our evolution, whether we know this or not. This conversation right now is a gathering. And it's a part of our rising right now with this conversation we're talking about now. And we are having this particular conversation, so although we can say that these particular people can have that being first doesn't necessarily mean being the most advanced, especially when you was first 1 million years ago.
Wow.
You have to track that progress and the process, and as a result, the truth bears the fruit. This is why we are evolved to the particular point that we can even ponder these things, is because we're going through that particular process. Now, ultimately, the snake tails goes with the snake too. But this is the reason why Africa is a mystery. You go there and it's almost no progress being made because the simple fact here is they've already sent out their children to go through the milling process. And the children, you see what I'm saying, are all over the planet, and they're in the places where there's high technology so that we can make a difference, especially when it comes to the communication aspect, to make this program happen. So we are the ones that's evolving. Everybody is evolving on a total, but we have an acceleration rate when it comes to the people who went through that whole middle passage. Wow. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling in. We got a bunch of other callers holding now. Thank you, caller, for calling in and asking that question, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we're going on to the next caller here. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Let me try this. Caller from area code 713. Welcome to the Goddess Roundtable. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Hi. How you doing this evening? What's your question for Bobby Hemmitt?
Bobby, you were talking about before how you used to kind of go inside of yourself and meditate to change the weather.
Okay, yeah, I can tell the voice. Yeah, right.
Yeah, you go inside yourself to meditate and change the weather. Do you think that that's the best method to doing any type of healing or any type of change?
Yes, that starts. Yeah, that's the mind starts is everything. That is the final result. There's multiple ways to do things, but when all those fail, the mind is the key, especially the subconscious mind is the key. And it was interesting here because there's a brother Panic. I had a book I had a book that's out of print, and the book this book that I had that's out of print was called The Magician: Studies in Effective Magic by Philip Cooper. And anyway, he ordered him one, and he ordered me one. This is the brother that's actually is his mind space that I'm connected with, Brother Panic. And anyway, I was just reading tonight. The reason why I wanted to get the book again, because I wanted to read you a little something, because that's very interesting. You came up with that, because it talks about the subconscious mind is a powerhouse. It creates around all of us that it believes to be true, according to instructions that you give it. So if you give the subconscious mind what you want for healing or anything, it's going to work. Everything around you and you here and now has been created for you by your subconscious mind and has been attracted to you like a magnet. It is impossible to stop this creation process. Even when you leave the earth life, it will carry on creating for you and serving you for its purpose to attract to you all that you need. It does not reason. It just accepts the instructions that are believed to be in your best interest. Before it will change its creative pattern, it has to be connected with new instructions that are valid. This is where all conscious mind comes into picture. So your subconscious mind creates everything that you need. The only thing about it here is you have been given wrong information based on society, your preacher, your teacher, your parents. You see what I'm saying? And as a result, your subconscious mind has to realize when you want some greater things to happen, you got to validate it and make it valid so your subconscious mind can understand that. One best way to do is to somehow go on the internet and get this book called The Magician, the Magician by Philip Cooper. You know, that's one. You know, but yes, that's exactly what you do. I tell the story about. I was coming down with a cold. That's why you got to wash your hands anytime you go out. Even now, the supermarket now is giving you that stuff you put on your hands and stuff. Because on the supermarket baskets and stuff, people are all sick and coughing and stuff like that. So
about the hand sanitizer?
That hand sanitizer. Supermarkets now giving you that up front to sanitize your hands before you put them on those baskets. But I was out one day and must have touched something and woke up the next day and was coming down with something. And so I went and didn't have no echinacea, didn't have no vitamin C, didn't have nothing in the cabinet. I said, damn, and I had a peach soda in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Artificial flavors, nothing natural about it. Water, sugar, and chemicals.
Oh, boy.
And I said to myself, I'm going to drink this peach soda, and it's going to give me all the nourishment I need to knock this thing out. Didn't come down with nothing. And it was better than taking 7 or 8 golden seals and echinaceas. That's because, you see, based on what I did, I took the same thing. And you know that's what the doctors do now. They give people placebos, and they go, yeah, I'm better now with that medicine you gave me. And it wasn't nothing but a water pill. You see what I'm saying? You see. So yes. So yes, you can do all that with your subconscious mind.
Wow. We have another caller that's just so patiently holding. Thank you, caller, for calling in. Let me grab this other caller here.
Yes.
Okay, let me see. Okay, come on. Okay, caller from area code 706. Thank you for calling and holding. You're on the Goddess Roundtable. What's your question for Bobby Hemmitt tonight?
Yes, peace. My name is Abba. I was calling to ask Bobby Hemmitt, being that his topic is on melanin, how did melanin first get into human beings?
Excellent question. And what I want to do is give you some text. You need to get the Enuma Elish. That's the Babylonian creation, epic creation. It was a pre-dynastic Egyptian creation, but the successors to the Typhonian or pre-dynastic people destroyed these particular texts that it was dealing with, because the goddess that it was dealing with, they was rebelling against this feminine principle. So it survived in Babylon, or Babylon, Samaria, what have you, and it's called Enuma Elish, the creation epic. The creation ethic.
Oh yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I'm familiar with that because I'm a Nuwapi and I'm a student of Dr. York. So,
okay, right.
Yeah,
so you know about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
But my specific question because I've been doing
I'm
a lot of
giving
research.
let me give you my way of going by it.
Okay, definitely.
I deal with where you can get further scholarship.
Okay.
You see, I like to document things and stuff because I don't like people to take me face value and believe what Bobby. You don't supposed to believe shit that Bobby Hemmitt say. Okay. We all supposed to be at this particular point to go out and even do further research. And since you got the research from Rabboni, Dr. York, well, here's just some, you got the creation ethic. Well, in there, it talks about when they overthrew this great mother, Tiamat. When they overthrew this great mother, Tiamat, they and her husband, Kingu, they made her into the ocean, and they took Kingu's blood and made humans out of it. You see, and so here is the same concept here of this dark matter being fused into humanity, which is the melanin. Now, another one here is the Phoenician epic, which is later on the Greek epic. So when you see Greek, that's not but the Phoenicians. So the Phoenician epic talks about the Titans, which were these great cosmic beings that was overthrown by Zeus, and that's also Ra in Kemet, and overthrown by Zeus, and they was burned up into this cosmic ash, and they took this ash, and they made humans out of the Titans, the burn up Titans. That ash and stuff is the origin of melanin. So I just explained that particular aspect in the mythological aspect, which is high science. Now, in a physiological, biological aspect, basically what it is you just got the infusion of the first humans hitting this planet came here, and they were infused into them was this cosmic substance. And let me give you an example on the human level on how that particular thing happened. And it simply is this. We used to live in what is called a pre-physical world. The pre-physical world, that meant that the physical world looked like a shadow, and the spiritual world was visible. And as the vibratory rate slowed down with the vibrations, we became more and more condensed into the physical world. And the spiritual world became looking like a shadow, just like the physical world used to look like a shadow. So we became condensed into the physical world, and we became encased into the physical world. So but those particular deities, because all we are nothing but gods in the physical, those particular deities had what is called a ka and the ba, but the ba is the shadow, cosmic substance, the shadow. So anytime you hear the word shadow, that's melanin. And that ba and that ka was fused into the human body. So the ba became your soul, and the melanin became, and the ka became the melanin that's cast off from the soul. You say, well, how does that? The soul is a particle of light. It's nothing but a star. Every man, every woman is a star. If you take a match and strike it and put it up against a black wall, a white wall, what will you get on that white wall? Soot, carbon, melanin. So the soul is actually, that is now encased in a physical body, it actually produces the melanin, which is called the shadow, which is the cosmic intelligence. Some powerful shit, I tell you. All right.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yes.
We get to this next caller here. Okay, let's see. This person, they've been holding for a while. Let's see, did they come in? Caller from area code 216, are you there? Caller from area 216.
Hey, how you doing, Goddess?
Thank you so much for being patient. I think you called a couple of times. What is your question for Bobby Hemmitt?
Hey, hooked up to the African Warrior Scholar. This is Sin Conscious Vibrations. I was wondering if Bobby could elaborate on the blood ritual or the ritual of the eating of the pineal gland, and speak in reference to what is known as DMT, dinotryptamine.
Okay. the eating of the pineal gland is done by certain Masons, or not certain Masons, I won't say, because certain people in secret society, because the Masons are the low level of the secret society. It's like a pyramid. As you go up into these particular pyramid, the Masons might be the entry level, but when you go up into the pyramid, I ain't talking about black Masons. That's a joke. That ain't nothing but drinking, looking, driving cabs. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing. The 2 million black Masons, 2 million black men had knowledge, we'd have been out of this mess. That's a joke. But I'm talking about these white Masons. As you go up, the pyramid gets smaller, and they have numerous secret societies that spin off from that. And in those particular secret societies, they have something what is called the obscene rite. And the obscene rite is the eating of a live pineal gland, and they get high on it. You'll get that. You'll see it in the movie Fear and Loathing, which is a real book of a guy's drug experiences. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas with Johnny Depp, where they did all the drugs in the world. When they ate the live pituitary gland, which was pineal gland, when they ate the live pituitary gland, they really went crazy. They really went crazy. There's another movie where they mentioned the word obscene rite in a movie called The Satanic Rites of Dracula with Christopher Lee. It was banned from this country until the 90s, but you can get it on video and DVD now. When they asked this guy what did he see when he accidentally spied in on a secret society, he said, I saw the obscene rites. But it's also documented in Peter Moon's book called Black Sun. It's a book called Black Sun by Peter Moon, and that whole book is dealing with melanin. They'll call it a cultum. Before it was called Melanin by Aaron Lerner at Yale University in 1957, it was originally called a cultum and stuff. So, but in the back of the book, he also mentions the obscene rite and eating of a live pineal gland. Of a live pineal gland. Now, it's interesting because I was in Washington, D.C., well, it was actually in Baltimore in 1997, and a brother who had picked me up said that it was taking me to the airport that was at the lecture at my lecture. He said it was interesting, you're talking about the pineal gland. He said in 1990, remember in 1990 it was black people killing up each other in real, hello?
Well, I'm here.
Yeah, in the D.C. area.
Oh, right,
yeah.
Right.
Right. Well, what it was is he said in 1990 he met a guy that he had graduated high school in 1969. Never saw the guy until that day. And the guy was driving a truck. And he said, what is that? He said, what's all them bottles in the back of that truck? He said, well, when the youth die, we take their pineal glands out when there's a homicide. And we take them to Johns Hopkins Hospital. But it was full of pineal glands, so that meant that on the weekend, that meant it was something like 300-400 bottles, and ain't 300-400 deaths in a weekend.
Ooh,
so what it was is basically when black people die, or before they die, they take their pineal glands, and what they do, they ship them over to a place called George Washington Memorial. There's a George Washington Masonic Memorial. And it's a place that's built like the Library of Alexandria in Alexandria, Virginia, or Maryland, whatever that. And basically the people, and the skull and bones is in there, the York Rite, the Scottish Rite, and all these particular things is in that George Washington Masonic Memorial building. And basically they take hundreds of pineal glands over to the Masonic people, and they eat them during ceremonies. You see? Yes, I don't know what his other question was, but yeah.
We got
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you so much for calling.
But excellent book also to get is Peter Moon's book. Peter Moon's book called The Black Sun, because that's a book that's on a lot of stuff on melanin is in that book. They just call it a cultum, and he might not even mention melatonin, but his whole book is about melanin.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and the occult.
That's what I got here.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much for calling in. Conscious Vibrations, is that who this is?
Yes, Cynthia.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you calling in here.
Thank you very much.
All right, hit that fool.
Okay, moving on to the next caller here from area code 520. Thank you for holding. What's your question this evening?
Hi, Goddess Lady Phoenix. Thank you, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be in your presence, Mighty Warrior Bobby Hemmitt. Thank you.
All right.
I get to hear you.
Is this Goddess Isis?
Yes, precious, it is.
Oh, Oh, thank you,
yes.
sister.
Beloved mighty warrior, King God, Sun Star, Bobby Hemmitt, I have a question here.
Yes.
Earlier you spoke about the mind. And the mind, as we know it, is everything. And every thought, action, conduct, behavior begins with the mind, right?
Yes.
Now, I know we've been programmed and conditioned to say things that we shouldn't, has no power in it. For example, we have people, we hear them say, like, believe in your heart. It's in the heart. My heart told me this, that, and the other. Could you please tell our people the difference between the mind and the heart? The heart is there to only function to pump the blood.
Oh, no.
Alive?
Oh, no.
Or is there more?
Oh, no. Oh, no. You have
it?
made an F. You done flunked that class.
Right. Because if there's more to it, I need to know.
Oh, no. You done flunked that class. The mind. Now, the mind is the first level. The Rudy Poont level. The line is the inferior level. Inside of your heart is an intelligence. The Egyptians, when they mummified a body, they preserved the heart. They snatched the brain right out of the body. Say, that's a piece of garbage that you don't even need. It only functions in the mundane physical world. The intelligence that we're talking about, all of that stuff is not coming from the brain. The pineal gland is an adversary or a manifestation of the heart chakra. The heart is the most important thing. Hell, you even see Jesus pointing at a doggone heart. You see, you don't even have. Look at what separates. Look. There's a few of us that have consciousness. It's like less than 1% on the earth total. What separates you from having consciousness and your stupid family members that you tried to tell is too, and they too dumb to understand it, and all these other crazy Negroes out in the street? What separates it is you're radiating at a level of vibration of your heart chakra, and they're radiating at a vibration of the root chakra in the anus. So they only can understand mundane and material things. You can't even get into consciousness until you radiate at a vibration of the heart chakra. The subconscious mind that we're talking about here gets its origin in the heart. Know this. You see, you study any ancient stuff, especially any ancient Egyptian stuff and ancient East Indian stuff. They got a whole book called the triadic vibration of the heart or whatever. Let me see if I can get the name of it. I got a library in here, but it's not what I got. It's what I can find. It's massive books. It's something. But anyway, no. That was I was giving you you was getting 101 with the mind.
Okay.
This is what we talking about here is doggone PhD level. The heart is the ultimate thing. As a matter of fact, they tell you right now, if your heart ain't in it, you see what I'm saying? You see, it ain't real. Now, what I mean by that is this. The mind also consists of two things. It consists of the pineal gland, which has the potential where there could be the seat of the soul could lodge in it. But it also consists of, mostly for people down here, the ego. And the ego is an illusion. It doesn't even exist. It only supposes itself to be a human being. And basically 90% of our function is on the ego level, the illusionary level. So that can be corrupted. The mind can be corrupted, but the heart is pure. That is the brain of your soul. You see what I'm saying? The heart is the brain of your soul. You see, that's why women. That's why they tell men that they must open up more. That's the key to a man's evolution to getting to the higher level. He must open up his heart more.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
All right.
He must open up his heart more. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, we got a couple more callers. Goddess, did you have anything else?
Yes.
No, he said it
all. He broke it down.
There's a book called Enlivening the Chakra of the Heart. I can't give you the author, but it's called the Enlivening the Chakra of the Heart. It goes into all of that.
Okay. Thank you
so
much. Okay, good night.
Thank you, sister, for calling in.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Peace. Okay, let me get this other callers I've been holding on here for a while. They patient.
And when you get a chance, tell the people how to get on my MySpace page.
Okay, we're going to make sure we get into all of that. Calling from area code 216. Thank you for holding. I appreciate your patience. And real quick, for everybody who's been calling and holding, I appreciate you all being patient. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what your question is for Bobby?
Hey, Bobby.
Yes.
Hey, this KOK in Cleveland.
Yeah, King of Titty,
Yeah.
Stephanie.
Yeah. I just wanted to let you know that it's a lot going down here. We didn't have 2 councilwomen that, one of them was 82. Then we got Bernie Mac and the other guy, Isaac Hayes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying that there's something going on with the frequency of this planet because they put enough antennas on the freeways and on the freeways in Cleveland, and it's just you can feel the vibration. So our pineal gland, isn't that something like an antenna?
Oh yes, it's like an antenna. It's like a receiver. It's like a transmitter. It's a conductor. It's all of that. But we don't have to really see. I think, like I said, as conscious people, we don't need to even bother ourselves by that. Why? Okay. Because if we go on everything diabolical these ruling elite are doing, we'll be here till next 1,000 years. Because every hour they're doing something diabolical. But one of the keys here is we are protected in the knowledge as long as we don't give into the fear. So a lot of this stuff that the Illuminati and them doing, they want you to know that they're doing this because they understand that fear shuts down melanin. Now stress, melanin enhances. And I tell the people about the number one people, some of the babies now that done come of age in the high school now, the number one children with the number one academics in Georgia is the crack babies. They are excelling beyond all the people in the class, the academic level. That's because they went through that stress and it brought a new entity in with the melanin. So melanin strives through stress, but it shuts down with fear. With fear. So all of that type of stuff, I'm telling you, they don't have, believe me, they have done all what they have done the worst of what they can do. Now they're into the fear tactic, the scare tactic, telling you all what they're going to do, running the wolf ticket when we're the ones that's in charge. You see what I'm saying? I'm lonely. I wish somebody to come up on my behind with some bull. You see what I'm saying? Then we can get it going. You see. But, like I said, the gods now, there's a human level and the God level. The God don't concern itself with what they're doing. They're just scared. You see, and they'll produce the fear. It doesn't matter about what the masses are doing. The masses is going to be ignorant and stupid in the first place. You see. So it took me years to get out of the masses and the bleeding heart of the masses. Now, the masses will be saved too, but they're counting on us to keep our sanity. And one way is not to dig into the fear of what they're doing. So now we got a whole intelligentsia of people that are just dealing with this conspiracy stuff, and they're getting into more and more into the fear on what this man can do, and this man can't do nothing. He's already shot his best wad, and we wasn't even, we were so ignorant until we didn't recognize when he was killing us off. But now the best is left, and it's time to get with it. And they know that they can't do nothing with this.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to go to the next call. Thank you, caller, for calling in and letting us know that or what was going on down there.
Yeah.
All right.
But, I mean, it's going on every hour. If we focus on, it's going on every hour of what they're doing stuff. The focus now here is the DNA has changed, and we are at the threshold. You see what I'm saying? We're at the threshold, but I'm not going to let nobody dupe me into thinking that he's more powerful than I am.
I know that's right.
He's not.
I agree on that one.
He's not.
We got another caller on here. I didn't even realize that. My bad. Let me go to that caller. I'm so sorry, caller. Thank you for calling into the Goddess Roundtable. What's your question for Bobby? You there, caller? Caller from area code 404.
Oh, hi. Greetings, Phoenix. It's Umi.
Oh, Umi. Greetings. Greetings. Thanks for calling in.
It's really, really a wonderful show. I just wanted to touch back a little bit on the glaciers melting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember 2020 had a weather program on a couple months ago, and they were showing you how the clip that Al Gore used to show the glacier melting actually came from a movie.
Are you serious?
So it is. It was on 2020. Sam Champion did some kind of a special on different weather patterns around the world. And and the woman that made the clip, the actual clip on the computer, she was interviewed because he showed that it was the exact same clip. So
they had some clips. Well, they got other channels on cable. They had some clips on the scientific channel and on and It was some stuff going on. But nevertheless, nevertheless, the planet is changing on multiple levels. You see what I'm saying? On multiple levels and stuff like that. So it's not just the glaciers. I mean, it's all types of the planet being in peril and all. You see what I'm saying? But ultimately,
I understand that. I was just making the point that
how
far someone would go to give misinformation for people to think I need to be so afraid because look what's going on.
No, I'm telling people to rejoice.
Oh, no,
yes,
that's right.
I agree.
I'm telling people to rejoice. If you wake up in the morning and that sun ain't shining, you need to rejoice. Why? Because that means that there's been a break in your misery and suffering. And when there's a break in the misery and suffering, some people can wake up. That means we on our way. You see what I'm saying? That means that your DNA has already started to take effect. I'm talking about rejoice. I'm talking about rejoice on every natural disaster you can. Because that's how much because ultimately, this is what this stuff about. Let me explain something to you. Now, we know that they blew up their own building on 9/11. That goes without saying. You see what I'm saying? And why would they go through painstaking lengths to create Homeland Security and all of these doggone acts? Is not for no terrorists on the outside, because there is no terrorists on the outside.
That's right.
It is to contain what's on the inside, and that's you. And a device that is ready to come online and destroy anything that threatens it. You see what I'm saying? That was research done by the East Indian government in 1975. We have devices in our body that is willing to come online and destroy anything that threatens it, at least in this particular time. So the Homeland Security is not for no outside Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda is American Black Ops. It was invented by them. This stuff here is to contain black people, because they study that DNA and they know that DNA change. And they're going, what if? You see, we need to take precautions because the DNA is changing. It has amino acids popping up on it every day. So we have a monster in our midst. Did you see? Shoot, come on now. Did you see this Negro from doggone Jamaica in the Olympics?
Oh, awesome.
This man in the 100-yard dash, he was up ahead of the fastest runners in the world. You see what I'm saying? By a yard. It's a new day. You see what I'm saying? So they're trying to contain us. You see what I'm saying? And yes, the planet, Kundalini is rising. You see. Look, let me give you an example about change. They had a village in Italy. Mount Etna erupted in 2003. And they had a planet in the village around in Italy or Sicily when Mount Etna erupted. And all of a sudden, everybody started catching on fire and burning up. True story. Catching on fire. Houses started catching on fire. People started catching on fire, called spontaneous human combustion. That is when the Kundalini rises at an alarming rate. That's what happened to my mother in 2006.
Wow.
She sat in her chair and burnt up and got the hell up off the earth. Ignited. Wow. You see what I'm saying? So we talk about some great mysteries. That's what we really need to be focused on, is our own human selves. Because that's what the government is focused on, to create a homeland security for you, for us. But what they don't realize, when it go down, it ain't going down physical. It's going down spiritual. And you can't fight no ghosts.
Okay. Thank you, Umi, for calling in.
Okay,
and,
I just wanted to let you know it's really a great show. We'll talk later. Bye-bye.
All right. Okay, now this is what I'm going to do, because we're down to the last 40 minutes. I had somebody post a question on here.
Right.
And, man, let me go back up. I had never even seen the word before. I hope I pronounced it right. Somebody had said if I could ask you about, I think they called it pinoline or pinoline, P-I-N-O-L-E-N-E is how they spelled it. I'm not sure what that is. Are you?
Pinoline?
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I'm trying to go back in this chat to see if I can.
I'm at a loss.
That's
something to do with the pineal gland.
That's what I wanted to know.
They need to explain a little, elaborate more, so I can catch on. Maybe I do have some information, but right now, Pineoline does have something to do with the pineal gland? I don't know. So I can't go no further till I get further information. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, now this was my question.
Yeah.
This is my question now that the phones are quiet for a quick second here. I had went to, like a couple years ago, it's probably been longer than a couple years ago, me and a group of friends had went down to Palenque down in Chiapas, which is in the Yucatan, right next to the Guatemala border. And, of course, down there they have the rainforest, and it was all of our first time being in a rainforest. And while we was in that rainforest, we had went through some major experiences, and it seemed like everybody had their own unique experiences. But one of the things that really stood out the most was that, like afterwards, and there was a mixture of the group. I mean, the majority of the group, it was like, a lot of us, from right here in America, a lot of us, I think it was probably about 6 or 7 of us, that was, I'll say, black people. And then we had, the white people that was part of the group. But when, all of us, like me and my brothers and sisters was in the room, the amount of energy that we felt emitting from one another was really, really intense. And then when we would go around, the white people, they seem like really empty. Now, I'm not saying that it's like that for every white person, but I know for me that I had been trying to, really break that down and saying, or, I just felt that had a lot to do with the melanin. And I've always felt like, anybody that, that certain people maybe they, are able to hold, higher vibrations of it and so forth. I mean, I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but can you, kind of touch on that a little bit?
Well, what it is you come from a culture that was actually manned and driven and operated by melanin in all aspects. So it's easy for you to be acclimated from a culture to the point that you could respond spiritually to spiritual things that's actually going on. You see what I'm saying? Now, and so the melanin is conducive to that. So then you have some that don't have that degree of melanin, just enough to survive on the planet, but don't have that degree of melanin. They have a calcified pineal gland, so therefore they're not going to be able to be receptive to those spiritual environments. And then the other part about that is Europe is a thawed-out icebox. So a harsh climate and stuff like that is going to bring about a temperament that's not going to be receptive to several things that you would find in a spiritual environment of a tropical climate. So therefore, that's a factor that you have to put up in there also. You see what I'm saying? But most definitely, it has something to do with the actual melanin and your ability to tune in. You see what I'm saying? In the environments around you.
Yeah, because when we were down there by the the pyramids, I was seeing the glyphs get off of the wall. Was walking around and interacting, with amongst themselves, and then it looked like with I don't know if it would be like the higher selves of some of the people that was a part of my group, but it was a pretty deep experience, man.
Yeah,
that was something else. Man. Just that may be another show altogether. But okay, now the person who posted that question earlier, which was Panic, see, he said that the pineoline or pinoline, he said it's something about it has something to do with the melanin staying in the brain. Oh, here he put down here, melanin staying in the brain and it doesn't get absorbed. Something about that. Do you know anything about that?
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, that's who I knew I'd heard it from somebody before. It was actually him that I heard it from. You see what I'm saying? That I heard it from and all. So that was his research that he was telling me. I knew I heard this thing before.
Well,
about the melanin.
Call in?
Huh?
I was just telling Panic to call in so he could elaborate on this too or ask the question.
Yeah.
In here posting it.
Yeah, because he did the research on that and he told me about it too. But it's about that particular part of the stuff not being absorbed in the brain, that portion of melanin and all. And all, yeah. And I need to know about the pros and the cons, but yeah, if he can call in or what have you, we can, that particular aspect, we can, yeah. As a matter of fact, he is the person that actually, it is his website that I'm actually, my mind space is on. Because I don't have a computer, so, I don't have a computer.
Oh, well, he been on here just, making sure he puts your information on here so everybody knows how to get a hold of you.
Yeah,
so
do that. He's doing that too. Good.
He's been a big help, on that level and everybody.
Yeah, we started about 2-3 months ago, and he was the one that actually instrumental in launching it. Yes.
Okay. Well, I already asked him to call in, but if he doesn't, that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we got 36 minutes left, so we definitely have done good with covering a lot of ground here.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like you gave out a lot of information. I hope everybody was able to catch down some of the names of the books. I wrote down a couple myself.
Mm-hmm.
But, Bobby, you certainly just been shooting them out there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Definitely been shooting it out there. One of the other things that I wanted to ask you, because you actually, man, it's almost hard to really limit or you try to really narrow down a question on melanin just because it covers literally everything. But I know earlier that I had heard you touch a little bit on the melanin and the menstruation, the bleeding and the hormones and
right.
So forth and all of that. So I didn't know if you could kind of touch into that a little bit more. I know you had just spoken it briefly, or was that something that we were going to have to find out?
As far as the menstruation and the melanin?
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe this is the brother here. We got a caller on the phone. Let me see who this is. Let's see. Oh, did it go through? Uh-oh.
Hello?
Caller from
yes.
646.
Yeah.
It's Panic. It's Panic.
Yeah. Tell me what.
Panic.
Yeah. Enlighten the people on that.
Well. Remember we were talking about the DMT, and you were telling me how, for the most part, why black people have good skin, good focus physically, because the melanin gets absorbed into the nervous system while they sleep. And the idea to go to another level of melanin spiritually is for it to sit in the brain, turn water into wine, turns into something called pinealine. I think it was in William Henry's book.
Yeah, right. Okay, right. Exactly. William Henry's book. Which one was that? The Oracle?
Oracle of the Illuminati.
Of Illuminati, yes. William Henry, Oracle of the Illuminati, yeah. Well, obviously that is another form of the alchemical form of the elixir.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? The different properties of what can be done. Is that would that be done access through meditation mostly?
Meditation and just using your own thought to retain it. Just knowing that it gets absorbed naturally without you doing nothing, and you just make an effort. It's the water into wine thing. And then once you're able to retain, it's how you're actually able to make contact to the lucid dreams, astral traveling, and all those things.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So for the most part, a lot of us are doing that already.
Right. Yeah.
When you put more focus on it.
Especially. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you put more focus on it, knowing it with more effort in your thought, it goes to a whole different level than random acts. You bring back more competent information.
Well, this is what I want you to do. I want you to keep her on the line. I got to plug up another phone because this one's about to go out, and I'll call back in.
Okay, that's fine. That's
all right.
Definitely fine there. Okay, Bob, we'll wait for you to call back.
Okay.
So you know what that makes me think about, Panic, when you had touched on that, going into the lucid and the astral traveling. This is actually just from observations. I haven't read any book. I've just been talking to a lot of people, and what it seems to be is that a lot more men seem to easily get pushed into that state of just, naturally being able to tap into astral traveling more. Not saying that it's like that for all men or whatever, but what I'm wondering is if that is somehow connected. Because it's, not saying that the women can't either. It just seems that men just do it quicker, naturally, and I've seen that even with the younger children, with the young boys as well.
Right. Well, I think maybe something in the adventurous type mind of a boy, like a boy or a man, to climb a tree, to run around. So looking for more adventures, you're kind of natural to it, while the women are more intuitive. And I notice with them, and I talk to a lot who have lucid dreams, they'll get more random things that you have to decode deeper. But I've noticed many of them who tapped in, very hard.
Yeah, I do a lot. Yeah, mine's is mostly on a on the lucid level.
I mean, the key is, I mean, what I notice with black people, everyone does it. Everyone has an experience, but then when you ask them to tell you something competent and something about end-time events, that's where it falls short.
Right.
So the key is when you start to develop the things that you have in terms of, everyone taps into lucid dreams, pinealine, melanin, all these things, but when you make an effort towards this, it goes to a whole different level.
Yeah, I'm back on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we got you back on here now.
Well, Well, I'm glad you explained it. Because you hit me to the research on that.
Yeah.
To the research on that.
Right.
Yeah. And like I was gonna say earlier, one of the keys to melanin is the dreams.
Right.
And one way they stop the dream realm is electricity in your room, electromagnetic force fields. So you should make an effort to cut off all electronic devices inside of your room, at least where you sleep. You see?
Okay.
But most of them have a battery in them anyway, just like a cell phone. So the TV is always on, even if you unplug it from the wall. But at least you could do is try to cut down on the most amount of electricity you could by getting you one of those breakers where you could cut it all off on everything you got plugged up on one little strip. At least when you're sleeping. Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Well, yeah. I'm definitely gonna have to check into that book too that you have mentioned too, because.
Can you mention the MySpace page, Panic, so that they can?
Yeah. I put it up a couple of times.
Okay, they know. Okay, good.
So they know.
Yeah, but go ahead because there may be a lot of people who aren't in the chat room too, so you could go ahead and just say it on the air too.
All right. So it's myspace.com/Bobby Hemmitt.
Yeah, that's
myspace.com/Bobby Hemmitt.
And also, you want to put up yours too. He has a lot of interesting articles and a lot of interesting thing that is on his website. What's your website?
Mine would be myspace.com/PanDemon. And if you go to Bobby's page, you'll see me there. You can click on it. Or if you go to my page, you can see Bobby there and click on him. So they'll link together.
Right, because he's doing a book on magic magic as pertaining to melanin.
Right.
So, and he has a lot of good information on that. So that should be coming up. And he has a lot of good articles. You see what I'm saying? It's interesting here because they had a race forum on race. And black and white had this forum in Washington, D.C. And they had concluded that the most effective thing on racism today is what is coming from the media, our perception from the media. And there's little small things that we might not know. And Panic has a whole lot of that on his website also, where he did a whole breakdown of that the show The Wire.
Right.
And all like that. So they're hitting us from that level on the subconscious aspect. You see what I'm saying? So go and deal with some of those things, but also just a cadre of things he's dealing with on his on the website also.
Okay. Right. Okay, well, that is good to know. All right, I definitely appreciate you calling in, Panic, and elaborating on that. And, make sure you put your information, too, in the chat, too, so people know.
Sure, yeah.
I know I personally want to go on there myself.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I'll go check out your page as well. Okay. Thank
All right.
you.
All right.
No problem.
Peace.
All right.
Okay.
Now, for the last part of the show, something I wanted to touch into, Bobby, is, as well, was dealing with the foods and recreational drugs and melanin. Because a lot of people are obviously, eating whatever, which is, the quote unquote the norm out here.
I got two levels for the people.
Okay, go ahead.
The people who radiating at a higher vibration of Kundalini energy, your toxins can be converted into fuel. But that's little people that's on that particular level. I'm on that level. But there's very little people that's on that particular level. So in that particular case, I just tell people to just keep a very mindful diet. And my point here is when it comes to the diet thing, because I do know this part. Because I can see, because it's a double-edged sword on the diet thing. And what I mean by that is this. It's two aspects you need to look at. Okay, when you get the basic essentials down of what you know that won't harm you, then your body can do the rest.
That's right.
But then there's a part where you go into fanaticism, And in that particular thing, what you do here, the body reverses. So what happens is, if you become so engrossed or ingrained, embossed, or so into the diet, then what you do, you send messages to the subconscious mind that everything is going to hurt you and your body has no way of healing. Because you program the subconscious mind to say, 99% of the time, because I'm eating this bad stuff, then what's going to happen is it's going to harm me.
Gotcha.
You see, so basically what you have to do, see, it's a double-edged sword, because now diet has become a religion for some people, and that's going on a fanatical level.
That's true.
And all right, and so what happens with a lot of those people, let's say if they program their mind enough to say, you know, if I eat this whatever, and they program their mind enough to say it, they will get extremely sick. You see what I'm saying? Whereas prior to them doing that, if they just understand we do this stuff in moderation, then what will happen here is the body is not programmed to get sick, and it can cast off more stuff. You just got to give it a chance to work. I say like this because there's so many variables on what not to eat. Hell, now all the religious people in diet don't eat half the stuff in the health food stores, and it goes on and on and on. So I say what Dr. Sabi and the rest of them say when they are in private. They'll tell the people that everything is wrong for you, and when they're in private, they tell these people, which I know, it's not what you eat, it's how you clean out. That's the key.
That's right.
They'll tell them this, because there's so many variables on what can harm you until, and believe me, because somebody say something is organic don't mean it's organic.
Ain't that the truth?
You see what I'm saying? So my point here is you can get so deep into the stuff until you won't end up eating nothing. But the point I'm trying to make here is this. It's not what you eat, it's how you clean out. Now take me, myself.
Okay.
I clean out twice a week. And that's hard for people who working to do. But if I can do it twice a week, then what you can do once a week. So the cleaning out is the most important part. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
I say get you some senna tea, and use that for a minute, and then get to the hard stuff. Get the senna tea pods and boil that into a tea. Woo! And that will clean you out big time.
It sure will.
You see, like that. So that's my thing here is, I used to be a vegetarian, I'm not now, but I found out that my body was, that when I was a vegetarian, I still had, the key thing is my body was sluggish and I had to clean out.
That's right.
And it's the same thing with this, you know, you have, it's how you clean out. Now let me let you know another little secret about the spirit.
Okay.
Melanin is also ancestral substance, which means that part of your ancestral DNA is all connected with that, and they can come and they can be inside of your body and dwelling with you. And sometimes you might get sick, and you might be thinking on how you're going to get rid of the sickness, and the spirit will come and tell you, I want some ice cream and cake. And you need to get that ice cream and cake. Because what that means is the spirit is saying, look, I'm here to heal you, but I need a certain amount of fuel spiritually to enhance the spiritual aspect of the melanin. And those entities and spirits inside of you, you need to give them what they want. That's so if they say they want some damn cognac, you give them some cognac. You see what I'm saying? You give them some cognac. And as a result, you can get healed from that. You see what I'm saying?
But
so
that's still going back to everything is still dealing with, you know,
right.
How you were talking about earlier, undoing the programs.
Undoing the programs. So that's another part of diet because I know 2 or 3 vegetarians, one guy fell out and died right in front of his karate class.
Ooh.
Impeccable shape. And I'm seeing there's a bunch of vegetarians that's biting the dust now. And they're biting the dust because they have trained the subconscious mind that everything is dangerous for them. And as a result, what happens here, the subconscious mind acts upon it because it's programmed on that. And there are no vegetarians over 100 years old. And then most of them now, most of the great white women that wrote the books on on how not to catch cancer, caught cancer. Why? Because they focus on cancer 24 hours a day. And as a result, their body come down with what you as you think, so are you.
That's right. Oh,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why you think children don't get sick like adults? Because they don't think about the things that we think about.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So everything has to go down to a variation. I'm not saying a good diet is not essential, but what I'm trying to say here is there's pitfalls. You see what I'm saying? And you can get stuck on everything. You see. So therefore, like I said, your body might crave something.
Right.
It might crave something. It might say, hey, I need some sharp cheese. You know what I'm saying? Something you ain't ate in 10 years. It might say, hey.
It sounds like, too, but like you had said, okay, you got some folks who, okay, they're going to understand and they can do that, and then you're going to have your everyday folk.
Right.
And their important thing for them is going to be, hey, you still need to clean your body.
You need to, and especially for people who've never pondered this, they need to get on the essential diet.
That's right.
They need to focus on it more to acclimate themselves to good diet. And once they get that going, then you know what I'm saying. Every now and then they can pop a cold one. You see what I'm saying?
Now, the other thing, too, like dealing with, like, recreational drugs, and, okay, somebody, I don't remember exactly what the brother said, but I remember one time my brother was talking about, because, everybody was smoking marijuana and all that, is that affect, like, the state of, our melanin? Are we talking about retardation?
Let's put it this way. Yeah. If I smoked a joint right now, I probably would go to the Star Sirius, because I don't smoke herb.
Gotcha.
If you do something all the time, you see what I'm saying? If you do something all the time, it's just like anything else. Melanin is also called chaos. That's what melanin is, chaos in the body. Because that's all that is up there, the chaos sphere. Melanin is also, melanin and chaos, they say in chaos, change is supreme. And melanin is always changing. That's why we would create a new dance and go to a new one, go to a new one, go to a new one, until the government stopped us from dancing. You see what I'm saying? You see, because most rap music is not really a dance-oriented music. You see, it's kind of laid back, so they put more emphasis on that. But we create blues, give it to the white boy. Create jazz, give it to the white boy. Keep creating. You see what I'm saying? And that's because change is supreme. So in dealing with certain things like marijuana, if you do it all the time, then it becomes adverse to the melanin.
Oh, okay.
Let me give you an example.
Okay.
In ancient Egypt, the priest could go in and take a cube of sugar and would get just as high as they had took a snort of cocaine.
Wow. Because
sugar wasn't a part of their diet on that level, especially no granulated, bleached out sugar. You see what I'm saying? Other than fruit, you see. So as a result, they could get the same high effect as somebody taking some Coke 45 or some Old English 800. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
You see?
Okay, that definitely makes sense. The regular.
You see what I'm saying? Because they didn't do it all the time. So everything is in moderation. But the people that smoke and thinking it's spiritual, them niggas is just into recreation. And they ain't hitting a lick out of steak spiritually. They're doing it all the time. Like me, if I did it, I probably have a whole nother experience. You probably have seen me there, have me on the news. Nigga is flying over Atlanta. I'll probably be out there flying because it took on another thing because I don't do it.
That much. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have a lot of people that's doing it, and I just, I can't remember whose book it was I was reading.
And how spiritual are these people?
Yeah, well, you got some that claim to be, but
yeah, right, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And maybe you could elaborate on this. That I can't remember if it was Richard King's book I was reading. Dr. Richard King.
Everybody I know that's smoking excessively can't remember a damn thing.
That is the truth.
Almost got Alzheimer's at 29 and 30. Can't remember from day to day.
That's right. That is
you see,
true.
because it zaps the memory.
Oh, it does. Yeah, that I could definitely attest to. Okay, now here's my other question. Okay, for those people who are wanting to develop their abilities, via melanin more, do you have like any suggestions, exercises, different things, meditations,
start with anything? Get African origins of biological psychiatry, or Why Darkness Matters, or The Key to Black. You can get any basic but what you want to get is a good book on the chakras and Kundalini combined. And there's a book called Kundalini and Chakras. So you want to get a good book that show you those types of things, just to get a general outline of the ethereal body, of the inner body. So focus on that, because you know what I'm saying, because all of that type of stuff. Then there's books called D&T and Spirit Molecule. It's a book by Rick Strassman. There's several books that they can get. There's a book called Serpent Grail by Philip Gardner and Gary Osborne. Serpent Grail, and it deals with all the serpent, the melanin, the chakras, and all of those types of things. But you want to get books on the chakras and the Kundalini first. You see what I'm saying? And those deal with things like that. You know.
So it sounds like the first step is educating yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then after
that's the basis. That's the basis, because see, time is out for getting these leaders and these leaders following these leaders. That's why they have taken so many leaders from us, especially in the 2000s. Because now, when the millennium mark was 2001, and that was when the gods is supposed to rise up in us. They can't have the God cannot rise up in you, or your soul cannot take its proper place or its ascension with you following some knucklehead. I don't follow nobody. And I suggest, if you can read, you're the biggest idiot in the world to follow anybody if you can read.
That's right.
Now, people that can't read is one thing. But if you can, and you don't even need to read now, because they got numerous amounts of videotapes, DVDs and stuff to access this knowledge. But if you can read, you are the biggest idiot on the planet to follow any other doggone human being at this point in time, you see. Because ultimately you got to know your soul. That's what the metaphysical aspect is. You have to cross the threshold, and no other human can do that for you. So the best thing you can do is to get into practice to being solo, because the path of spirituality is a lonely one. You see what I'm saying? That means you don't have no doctrine or some old bull jive religion or some old knucklehead preacher and stuff. You see what I'm saying, that you can blame it on. You got to go the path yourself.
Now, is there, this is just something that came to mind as you're sitting there talking, because you know how there's a lot of people that's doing the sun gazing now.
Yeah.
And all of that, is that, connected with the melanin as well?
Yep, most definitely is.
I mean, I know it's a silly question, but I just
there's a guy named Lyndon LaRouche. Lyndon LaRouche spent several years in Africa, tending, as a doctor, physician. And he said the Africans were very, in general, other than getting certain shots or whatever, they generally weren't a sick people. He said in the 1960s, some company dropped 1 million sunglasses off on their ass in boxes. And he said they was wearing them sunglasses, and he said he saw them coming down the river, sick as a dog. He said, and that's when them Negroes started getting susceptible to all the disease.
Wow.
They were sick as dogs, and he said they put them sunglasses on, and that was the end of their ass, the Africans.
Wow. I forgot about the sunglasses. Yeah. Oh, man.
You see. Yep. So, yeah, sun gazing and all that stuff. All of that. Because, see, what they used to do, they used to drop all kind of biological warfare on Africa, doing colonization. Especially in the 1800s. They dropped all the stuff, and the only people who ended up dying off was the doggone white folks. You killed them off, and the Negroes were walking around like, can you give me some more of that scunion you just gave us? We hungry. Their nervous systems all was immune to all that stuff, and it wouldn't even hurt them.
Wow. Would that have anything to do with, like, say, well, we did talk about the DNA already, so I guess so, that and the blood types, and I don't even know if that makes a difference, but I would imagine it's all tied in somehow.
Well, their stuff hadn't been tackled with outside influences, and had, it was in check. It's just like, if you're in your own land and you've been on the land for thousands of years, and what can harm you? You merged in with the land. It's the same thing with what they said about they got a cure for sickle cell, but the government over here won't let the cure come to America.
Which is
and it was basically, because they found out that a lot of black people, a lot of Africans that started coming over, they was thinking that sickle cell was a birth trait. A lot of Africans, anemia. A lot of Africans, when they came over, they started catching it for the first time.
Wow.
And these people was in their 30s and 40s. So they was like, well, obviously it got to be in the diet. So what happened was somebody had put some stuff together, and it was certain African fruits that they made a compound out of certain African fruits, African yams and different things like that, and the stuff went away. Wow. And then the government blocked it. Said, we can't bring this in the country because our sickle cell society is what tracks the melanin.
That's right.
There's a sickle cell society in every state, in every city in the United States. They got a sickle cell society in Denver, and Denver is 4% black. You see?
That's jacked up. That's really jacked
up. So, but the sickle cell is decided where they track the melanin. You see what I'm saying? And all this type of stuff. So no, they you know. So it's just some stuff. So yeah.
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay, man. All right. Well, we wind it down to the last few minutes. Do you want to, did you have any other contact information besides your MySpace page or anything else that you wanted to share, Bobby?
Yeah, well, just tell them to go on there and remember now, this is all I do.
Okay.
Because if I had, you said, God, that boy, they got a whole lot of knowledge. How does he do this? Well, if I worked and did something else, I would split my concentration in half, you know, and as a result, you know, you wouldn't get this quality information. So it is left up to the people. Now, this is what other races do. They hook up their scholars.
Okay.
We've learned that to do it with our preachers, but our preachers are jacklegs and just get rich off you.
That's
but
right.
with black, we're the only race that let our scholars go to squat.
Yeah.
So if you go to MySpace page, you can send a nigga a donation. I don't care what it is.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Just go there and just write to Panic and, you know, write and say you interested in the donation, and then they can tell you the address and everything to send it to like that. But other than me giving you my phone number, I made that mistake in the 90s.
Now don't do that. They'll be
Negroes will call you at 4 in the morning wanting an election.
Yes, they will. Yes, they would. No,
you know,
don't do that. We ain't asking for that. Okay, so I just kind of want to repeat what you just said for everybody. I know I still got people in the chat. And I know there's a lot of other people that's not in the chat that are listening, though. I believe what Bobby said is actually very important. Like he just said, the scholars, everybody just kind of, you just leave them hanging.
We get, you know I virtually made no money in this endeavor, and I've been lecturing for 15 years. The thing, other than my getting money from my lectures, but the thing I'm trying to say here is, if I was in the Jewish race, I would have a grant.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? And I could fly around the world doing research. If I was in that white race, they would, they give you a grant, or they give you a foundation, or what have you. We the only people don't hook up our scholars, and people like Chancellor Williams, who wrote Destruction of Black Civilization, dies in an old folks' home. Dr. Ben is in an old folks' home right now.
Ooh.
You see.
Ooh-wee. Now,
we
got to step up to the plate.
So,
Bobby said donations, go to MySpace. Hit them up. I think everybody can do that. All of y'all really enjoyed the information, that was shared.
But what it is we don't value knowledge like other people do.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. That's right.
You see. We more into entertainment. Niggas want to be entertained.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And you're getting best of both worlds, because my knowledge is the way I present my shit is entertaining.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I try to squeeze off a laugh or two. But anyway, so I'm just saying that's just for the future, what have you and all. You know what I'm saying? But that's just one of the things. Huh?
Do you have like anything that anybody? I don't know. So I think somebody had asked a question in here earlier about like being able to buy any of your CDs. I don't know if you have or not CDs, excuse me, DVDs or.
Yes, right now I was doing the videos for a minute until that became too obsolete, or the VHS. So now we're going to the DVD thing. But right now, you can go to SeriousTimes.com.
SeriousTimes.com, y'all.
Yep. SeriousTimes.com, and you can get my full library there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
SeriousTimes.com, y'all. I hope y'all can.
Right.
and get the information there as well. Okay,
yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we can make sure we do that. All right,
but we will be doing it. But we will be doing it in the future, and the Mind Space will suggest when that time comes. You see. Also, you can if they can go to the Mind Space, please inquire about readings. I do these spiritual readings a system came out of Hemmitt, and I do it on cassette, and it's out of this world. It's $100, but it's out of this world.
All right, y'all hear that?
To do it. It's a serious spiritual reading. And you can play the cassette over and over and over again, and it's a lot of information. It tells you what gods you are, and what gods you are, not just it tells you Egyptian, Yoruba, Voodoo, Hindu. It tells you the gods around the world. It tells you what colors sacred to you, what your spiritual dreams are, what your spiritual powers are. It goes into all that. It's a complete diagnostic reading.
Wow.
So we will be. So just wait for when you go to the Mind Space. Wait for it, because it's going to be. We're going to post it on the Mind Space and give you the ins and outs on how you would go about obtaining one of those. But you will see it. You will see it in the next couple of weeks. Just be mindful.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody, y'all hear that? You got some readings coming up. That's good to know as well. And then, do you have any other upcoming lectures anywhere so I could tell everybody?
Right now I'm in limbo. I'm doing some other little research so I can bust out and come back out. You know, we kind of took a hiatus after London because we went over there and got busy.
Okay.
So probably be in New York in the next couple of months. So that will probably be my next place. Will be New York. But you can inquire, on the Mind Space or what have you.
Okay, everybody, inquire on MySpace. Y'all hear that? MySpace.com/Bobby Hemmitt. 2 M's, 2 T's in the name.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that brings us to our last 5 minutes, Bobby. I'm going to let you go because I know it's late on your side of town.
No. I don't go to bed till 4 o'clock.
Oh, ooh.
I don't know. I mean,
you.
Ironically, well, what happened was I used to go to bed at 2. Then I got a colonic in 2002, and I got that colonic, and I couldn't go to bed till 4 o'clock. And then I started going at 2 and 3 again, and then for some reason, with this Kundalini energy and this stuff rising, I'm up all night.
Oh, you know what? I've been going through that too. I just been not really sleepy.
That's the Kundalini energy. Yes, when the Kundalini energy rises like that, you stay up all night. You know what I'm saying?
You would think I'd be up the next day and no energy, and it ain't been like that at all. I've been just going.
And you know the funny part about it? I wake up at 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock. You would think if I stayed to bed at 4 o'clock, I would sleep until 6.
I'm telling you,
I still have that kind of energy.
I'm glad you sat there and told me that.
But another thing you want to deal with the melanin. Start getting back into your music, but listen to your music in the pitch dark. Whenever you listen to music in the dark, you enhance the melanin tenfold.
Oh.
So at night, get your music going.
Okay.
And listen to it in the pitch dark. And get you some headphones.
Okay.
Get you a good pair of headphones. Some good pair of Sony headphones. That way you don't disturb nobody in the house.
Oh, wait a minute. We got a caller calling in the last 3 minutes. They're really funny. Let's see what we can get in 3 minutes. Hold on a second.
Yeah, good.
Pick up this caller. Caller on 404. We got 3 minutes left, but go on and talk.
I'm going to talk real fast. It's me, Phoenix. It's Umi. I just wanted to say I'm really excited about you touching on the thing about the sleeping because I'm going through the same thing. That's why I'm here listening to you.
Oh, yeah. That means your Kundalini is rising. That means your Kundalini is rising.
And then I get up early, and I don't feel any side effects.
That's right. That's your Kundalini is rising. Because there's no way, if you go to bed at 4 o'clock, you're supposed to be dead all day the next day.
And I haven't been here.
Right. Now, that's your Kundalini, your chakras, that's your spiritual essence rising, and that's melanin kicking in at its finest.
And see,
you see what I'm saying?
Especially like that just before my menses start, so I know there's a connection because they've been, waking me up with that. So it's pretty interesting.
But
everybody going through that.
Yeah, but it's a great show, Bobby. You were really, really, really awesome, and I really enjoyed it. It was really awesome.
For you meat eaters, For you meat eaters, if you want to enhance the melanin. For you vegetarians, get you some tart cherry juice. That enhances the melanin. Tart cherry juice.
What'd you say? Part? How you spell that?
Tart. Tart.
Oh, tart.
Tart cherry juice.
Okay, tart.
That enhances the melanin.
Tart cherry.
And it heals.
Now, y'all don't go run into the same stove. Tart cherry
now,
juice, we ain't gonna be able
for
to
you meat eaters, get you some duck. The oil in the duck is the same as the oil that they talk about in the anointing on different aspects. So get you some duck.
Is there a substitute for the duck? I eat chicken and turkey. I just...
No, believe me. You eat chicken. If you eat chicken, once you get on that duck, chicken going to be second. You ain't going to want no chicken for a minute. Look, why you think them Asians got them ducks? You go to Chinatown. They be into that duck. That oil in that duck is healing.
Okay.
So get on some duck.
Get on some duck. All right,
some
we
duck.
got to the last minute, y'all. Thank you for
thank
calling
you.
back in.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right, Bobby, I want to thank you again for being a guest here. And everybody is blowing up the chat, and they are super happy. They still going. They acting like the show ain't over. I guess they could just
I
keep
hear
going.
you. We're going to have to do this again.
We certainly will. Thank you so much for sharing. Oh, man, we down to seconds. Okay, we got your information out there. Anybody that need any information, email me, and I'll email you the link to MySpace if need be. Again, thank you, Bobby, for coming on, and everybody have a good night.
I enjoyed myself.
I am so happy you did.
I tell you.
All right. Have a good one, Bobby.
Yep. Okay. All right. Hotel.
Okay, now.
The hotel food.